Shalom, welcome to HaMachpela here in the holy city of Hebron. You can see behind me some of the hills surrounding the great city of the patriarchs. And above us you see the famous monument to the patriarchs, constructed over centuries. And we're going to walk up into HaMachpela. We're going to talk about some of the teachings that surround this holy place. Chiefly that the Mara is called by the rabbis the Petach Gan Eden, an opening to what we call Gan Eden, which literally means the garden of mist, the spiritual worlds that are promised to the righteous when they leave this world. So we talk about this opening to the Garden of Eden. What does that mean? An opening. We're here in the dense physical material world. It's hard enough to get around when you have a brand new car, but the spiritual realm doesn't need a car. One travels by the power of thought, the power of the mind. Now the Zohar teaches us that the world is like an onion, made of layers upon layers upon layers. And those layers separate the physical from the spiritual. In our journey inward, just like as we're walking now, our journey inward is through those layers. So when we call this place the Petach Gan Eden, as you can see over above me, someone has dedicated a velvet plaque to that. We talk about that opening to Gan Eden. What we're saying essentially is that this is the place that the layers between the physical and the spiritual are very thin. And if you understand the implications of that, we can understand why it's easier to pray here. It's easier to learn here. It's easier to feel the truth of one's holy soul. It's easier to sense the holiness and everything around you. Now, Gan Eden in the Zohar is split into many, many, many layers. In general concept, we have the Gan Eden Tachton, which is the place for the regular people who are good and righteous. And then there's Gan Eden Elyon, which is the promised place for the world of the righteous, the holy tzaddikim. And of course, we want to know what's the difference between Gan Eden Elyon and Gan Eden Tachton. So the Gan Eden Elyon for the tzaddikim is different because of what happens there. The yeshivot, the academies of the righteous, are in Gan Eden Elyon. And the righteous have access to each other's yeshivot. So someone who's on this level can actually decide to go learn at the academy of Avraham Avinu, or the academy of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, or the academy of Rabbi Meir Baal Hanes, or all the other tzaddikim. Whereas in the Gan Eden Tachton, not everybody can just go where they want to go. Some other differences between the Gan Eden Elyon and Gan Eden Tachton are the ability to influence the physical world. In Gan Eden Elyon, a soul can have power to attach itself to someone down here and do him good favors. You see, we have a minyan going on here as we speak. A soul in the upper worlds has the ability to help more people at will. Whereas in Gan Eden Tachton, a soul doesn't have that same power to influence. Now in Gan Eden we're told, of course, there's no eating or drinking or sleeping. Why not? Well, because we don't have bodies. We only have our souls, which is of course who we really are. Are you your body? Our arms and our hands and our feet and our legs and our heads and our toes. Is that who we are? Well, of course not. So the idea of the upper worlds is the idea of a world where we simply don't need a body. So we don't need to eat, we don't need to sleep, we don't need to do any of the physical things that we're accustomed to here. Now, how does one travel in the upper worlds when one has the right and the merit? Well, it is through thought itself. Thought is a conduit of travel in the upper worlds. And when you think about that for a minute, think about what the Baal Shem Tov teaches. That where you think is where you are. So if you focus your power of thought in this world, you can be in other places. Now, psychic travel here is, well, it's something we ascribe to very few people. But in the upper worlds, psychic travel is the only travel. So we have to understand that as well. It all depends on the level of our refinement and the power of our ability to focus and to stay attached to a divine idea. So when we say Shema Israel, Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad 3 times a day, each time you say that phrase, you are invoking a power of the unity of creation. And being a member of that unity, guess what? You can travel on the power of thought. And Gan Eden is simply the only way to travel. And you don't wear out your shoes up there. So I hope this little tour has been useful to all of us. I try to come here pretty often. And as you can see, today is Sunday. It's not a very busy day in the Ma'ara. There are people coming and going. It is still Bein Hazmanim in the yeshiva world. So there are tourists out there traveling around. The final thing I want to share with you is a question that you might have asked that's answered also in the Zohar. What is the power source for the souls in this world? Well, we're told that Tal Hashamayim, the dew of heaven, is the food of the tzaddikim in the upper worlds, in Gan Eden. So what is that food? Dew? Sounds like man, right? But it's not physical dew. It is spiritual dew. And how does one receive this? Through the eyes. And that's why the rabbis say, someone who guards their eyes in this world purifies their soul to receive the world to come. And somebody who does not guard his eyes, every time a person looks at something that gives him physical pleasure that he's not supposed to, that will actually take away from his portion in the world to come. Now, is that fair? If you look at a beautiful person and you enjoy their beauty, should you lose your world to come? Well, it's not exactly losing. It's just you're receiving it early. Understand? So when you enter the world to come, the Gan Eden, whether Elyon or Tachton, depending who you are, what you're receiving as life force is through the purity of the conduit of the eyes. And the eyes are not just vehicles for seeing the world. They're vehicles for receiving the nourishment of soul power in this world and in the world to come. So, you want to have good eyesight in this world, and then you'll be able to eat much finer meal in the world to come. we'll look forward to more of these little trips and these little talks. I hope to be traveling north this week, and we'll have more visitations and things to share. And God bless you all, and you should have a good week. We look for you again on Patreon, YouTube, Facebook, Inside Timer, Web Yeshiva, Lighthouse, all the places they'll let me appear. God bless you all.